You tell my wife to tell your wife.
Where are you close to, Simon?
What's it called, Mayan?
Yeah.
Two years ago, when the boys' session was in, there was two boys from Farakwe. Ilan from Shayashiv. Schnitzer, Ilan Schnitzer's son, and I think a foreman.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right, it's raining. I'm sitting under a metal roof. Can you hear me? Am I muted? No. I'm under a metal roof and it's raining pretty hard over here. So I hope the island would. You hear me well?
Yes.
Jacob, why
Don't
don't you
even
go,
hear the
why don't you
roof.
go inside if it's raining?
Inside, I won't have internet.
Right.
No, I'm not in the rain. I mean, I have a metal roof on top of me. It's just
What would be the point of going to the country if you have to go inside?
100%. Simon, couldn't agree with you more. Especially with all the mud, man. If you need mud, they got it on sale here.
We just had a marble ourselves. All the streets are flooded.
Yeah, it's the way it's been. All right, let's go. Ready? We got up to 2 dots, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so so we said that if the sukkah, the minimum height for the sukkah is 10 tefachim. So how do you know? How do we know that 10 tefachim? Where do we know that from? So Itmar, Rav Chanina, Rav Yochanan, Rav Chaviva Masnu. Right, so it's Rav Chanina, Rav Yochanan, Rav Chaviva. They all learned. Then we say Bekula say the Moed Kolki Hai Zuga Chalufe. I'm sorry, I did a run-on sentence here. Yeah. So Rav Chanina, Rav Yochanan. Those are the ones that were said this over, and Rav Chaviva Masnu. Bekula said the Moed. Rav Chanina said that anywhere in Seder Moed, Kol Ki Hai Zuga Chalufe. Anytime there was this pair of Amirayim, so even though here it's not a pair because it was 3, right? Chalufe, he's Chalufe Rav Yochanan or Maili Rav Yonasan. He took out the name Rav Yochanan and he put in the word Rav Yonasan. Okay, whatever it is. So what did they say? Aron Kisha. The Aron was 9 tefachim high. Ukapayres, and the cover of the Aron was a tefach. Arekan Asara. So that gives you 10. Right, again, the Aron, which is just the box, not the kruvim. We're going to see later on. The kruvim is a separate cheshbon. The box, right, was square, so it was 9 tefachim high, and the kapiras on top. That was the tefach. Uksiv, and it says in the pasuk, and I'm going to be known to you over there, and I'm going to speak to you from on top of the kapiras. Yeah, Betanya, Rabbi Yossi Omer, and we learned in the Brisa that Rabbi Yossi said, the Shechina never came below 10 tefachim from the earth, right? Never went below 10 tefachim. And Moshe Rabbeinu and Eliyahu Hanavi never went up to Morim. Shenemar Hashemayim Lashem v'Aretz Nasan L'Bnei Adam. Shemayim was given to Hashem, and the land was given to people. So we don't belong up there. And Hashem doesn't belong down here. But what it means, even though the Gemara doesn't specify it, is that Moshe, what do you mean? We know Moshe went up. He just didn't come within 10 tefachim of Shemayim, whatever that means. Right? To Morim. He never came within 10 tefachim. Hashem never came lower than 10 tefachim from earth. And Moshe and Eliyahu never went higher than 10 tefachim from Morim. So now I'm going to ask a few questions. And the Shechina never goes below. Hashem al Har Sinai, and Hashem went down to Har Sinai. So you see, he came down to Har Sinai. My answer is Lamal Me'asar Tvachim. No, he didn't come mamish down. He was still above 10 Tvachim. Oh, Baksiv, Amdu Raglav, Bayemahu Al Har Hazesim. Right, and his feet were there on that day on Har Hazesim. So Lamal Me'asar Tvachim, that was also above 10 Tvachim. Yeah, so that's the way to Gemara answer. That didn't mean that Hashem came mamish down. He still hovered above 10 Tvachim. Then Gemara says, Moshe and Moshe and Eliyahu never went up. Right? When Moshe went up in Shemais, right? Moshe went up to Shemayim. Lamata Me'asara means he stayed below 10. He never mamish made it up there. And Eliyahu went up in this Sa'ara, like this strong winds or whatever it was, to the Shemayim. So we say also Lamata Me'asara, that was below 10. Okay, but then we have a different passage. But it says, so he grabbed on to the kisei covered, and he spread parshas alav anonai, and he spread his cloud on him. Right? So what does that mean? Hashem went away from the Shechina, whatever that means, and his cloud was on him on Moshe. But whatever it is, you see that Moshe grabbed onto the kisei covered. Now you can't grab onto the kisei covered unless you're within 10 tefachim. Or it says,
why not?
How you getting to the
Moshe was 20 amas tall, so he had a big arm. No?
And the kisei covered was more than 10. Was it more than 10 tefachim?
I have no idea. I have no idea how big the kisei cover was. Well, the truth is, I jumped the gun. So the Gemara is just saying that Moshe went up. The first kash is that Moshe went up. So you say no.
Can I ask you, why are we even having this discussion? What's the point? What's the point of any of this part of the discussion?
No, you could ask.
No, so the point is because if Hashem doesn't come down to the 10 tefachim, then we know that the minimum mechitza is 10 tefachim. That's all. That's the point. Meaning we're saying, the Gemara is saying that if Hashem doesn't come below 10 tefachim is mechitza. And no human can go up to within 10 tefachim of the Shechina, if that's what it's called. Right?
Yes.
So it's both. So that's what it's saying. That's how we would know that the minimum requirement for mechitza is 10 tefachim. So either way, so Gemara says Lamata Me'asara. So Gemara asks me, if it says he held on to the kisei covered, so you would think, okay, so maybe he had long arms. But the Gemara says different terms. The kisei covered moved away and it came down 10 tefachim below, but not that's where he held on to.
Is that the Shechina itself? Because we said the Shechina itself was not within 10 tefachim.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the kisei. It says the kisei. The kisei went down to 10.
So it's not the Shechina. Meaning, is the Shechina within that 10 tefachim? Because we said
I don't know. Because you're right. Because the last pasuk says that the Shechina also moved. Right? I don't know. Okay, so let's divide. Yeah. So Bishlama Aron. Okay, so that's the end of those kashas. So we don't go up to within 10, and Hashem doesn't come below 10. So Bishlama Aron Tisha Dichsiv Atze Aron Atze Shitim Masai Mechitza Arkoi Ba'am Mechitza Rachmoi Ba'am Mechitza Kamasoi. Right. We know that the Aron was a perfect square of an Amah and a half. Now, what's an Amah and a half? That's what do you call it? That's 9, right? If you go to an Amah is 6 tefachim, so an Amah and a half is 9 tefachim, right? Ela kaparas tefach minol. And how do we know that the kaparas was a tefach? Meaning again, that the Aron was 9 tefachim high. That's pashut, right? That's a beferish pasuk. But how do we know that the kaparas is a tefach? The Tani Reb Chanina said, "Kol hakelim shasa Moshe." All the kelim that Moshe Rabbeinu made, nitna behen Torah midas arkan midas rachan midas kaimasan. The Torah gave the measurement He's on the top. He'll call you. You want to call him after? Yeah. Unless you want to speak to him now, Aaron, I can call him from phone. Call my phone. All right. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so nitna b'hand, all the kalim that Moshe made, the Torah gave you the midas of the length and the width and the height. Kapiras, midas arka, midas rachma, the kapiras, it gave us the length and the width, but midas kaimasa nitna didn't give us the height. So how are we going to learn this? You can come back. It's not going to be no, he's going to call later. Come back like whenever, right before Myra. Yeah? Okay. Sorry. So, midas kaimasa nitna, he didn't give us the height measurement. So what are we going to do? We're going to learn out from the minimum amount of kli, right? Shenemar vasisaloi miskeres tefach saviv. Tefach saviv, I'm sorry. And you're going to make a miskeres of a tefach all around. The miskeres is like literally means a lock, but it means like a border, some sort of border, right? So, what do you call it? It's around the Aron. Yeah. Malahal on tefach, so just like over there, it was a tefach. Afkan tefach, so too is also tefach, because that's the smallest measurement that you're going to have in the Mishkan. So Gemara says, okay, so why don't we learn it out from the kalim themselves? Right? Why are you learning it out from either the Aron or the Mizbeach or whatever? Learn it out from the kalim themselves. Yeah. Because so Gemara answers to fast. We just had this in Sanhedrin. To fast maruba, loy to fasta, to fasta mu, to fasta. Take the minimum. Grab when you grab onto the maximum, don't grab it. Grab onto the minimum. Which we said is a Machlokes Rashi Tais is exactly what that means. But the bottom line is that if you grab the minimum, then you know for sure you at least have the correct measurement. If you go with the large, then maybe you totally overshot it. Yeah. Okay. So the Gemara says v'neilach mitzitz. So why do we learn out from the tzitz? The tzitz is the I don't know, how do you touch tzitz? The tzitz. I don't know, the thing that went on the forehead of the Kohen Gadol.
Headband.
The headband. I hear.
Head
Okay.
plate.
What do you say, Toby?
Head plate.
Head plate. Oh, head plate, maybe. So tzitz daima kimintas. What was the tzitz? It was similar to like a flat piece of metal, shalzav made out of gold, but racha beis etzbos, and it had a width of 2 fingers. And it went around the head from one ear to the other ear because of a base sheetin, and it had 2 rows written on it. So it's a big machlokes exactly how this looked. The top row it said Yud K milamala on the top. The Kodesh Lamed milamata. Then it said holy 2, right? Kodesh Lamed on the bottom line. I saw it in Rome because of a love. Kodesh Lashem b'shita achas. It says Kodesh Lashem in one line, right? So I think we referenced this somewhere in Sanhedrin that he was zeicher to go into to where the Romans had all the kalim, and he was able to see it, right?
We
So
said it
whatever
about
it
the
is-
Sanhedrin or
Parashas.
Yuma?
We saw the drops of blood.
Sanhedrin. I'm sorry, I was learning Sanhedrin. Yuma, I think Yuma. What did you say,
With the
Gershon?
drops of blood from
On
the
the
sire and the
Parashas.
pot.
Oh,
which
that's
way
what it
around?
was, right? With the drops on the parachas, right? Thank you very much. Oh, good, thank you. Right. So whatever it is, he said he saw it looked a different way than the Chacham went with. Either way, so once we're saying go with the minimum, so why don't you go? The tzitz was the most minimum, and that's 2 fingers. So maybe the kapiris was 2 fingers wide, thick, or high, not a tefach. So my answer is done in kli mikli, ain't it done in kli mitachshit. We're going to learn out a kli from a kli. We're trying to learn out the measurement of a kli, so we're going to learn out from a kli. We're not going to learn our kli from a tachshit. A tachshit, right? A tzitz, right? That's just the tzitz. The tzitz is just jewelry, I guess. Even though it's a very kodesh thing, but lemaisa, it's not a kli. So Gemara says, "V'neilach mizer." Why don't we learn it out from zer? Right? What's a zer? Zer is a crown. Damar mar zer mashu. The zer was a mashu. Yeah. Basically, it was this golden, like, what do you call it? Not
Lattice
plated.
work.
I guess plated. Is it lattice work, or it's just like, sometimes on the top of a glass, a drinking glass, you have like a gold rim, a rim, right? So the what do you call it? The mizbeach and the shulchan and the mizbeach and the shulchan and the Aron all had a little gold rim. The Mar said zer mashu. That's a mashu. So now zer is part of the Aron. So why don't you learn it out from the zer that the kaparas is? So what I answers, no, you can't learn out from the zer because done a kli me kli, ain't done a kli me hersha kli. You learn out one kli from another kli. You can't learn out one kli from a hersha kli. And the zer is not a kli, it's a hersha kli. It's there to make the kli look good. Okay, so Gemara says, Yachi miskeres nami hersha kli. If that's the case, you learned it out from the miskeres, right? Which is the border. That's also a hersha kli. That's not a kli. So the Gemara answers, miskarta lamata haisa. It was below it wasn't on top, meaning you could have a miskeres, a crown, not a crown, what we call border. It could be above the table or below the table. If it's below the table, then it's an integral part of the kli. But if it's above the table, then it's not. So we're talking about where it was below the table, so therefore it's mamish part of the kli. So I'm going to ask, so that's only good according to the shita that says that the miskeres was below. But according to the mandama that says that the miskeres was above, sort of like a lip. It's a hechshekli. So Gemara goes a different way, different teretz now. Ella done in davar shenitna by Torah mida, we davar shenitna by Torah mida. We learn out something that the Torah gives a measurement from something that the Torah gives the measurement. Right? How does it go? Done in davar shenitna by Torah mida, right? Which is which one did it give it mida to?
The kapairas, the width and the length.
No, the what? No, but that's what we're trying
The
to
width
figure
and the
out.
length. No, the width and the length we know. We don't know the height of the kapairas. But it gave some measurement. The
Right, but you
miskeres
can't-
had no measurement.
Correct. So what are you learning it out?
So done in davar shenasna by Torah mida,
It told
the
us
kapairas, from something else which has a mida in the Torah. But sits and the zer don't have midas. The
correct.
Torah doesn't give measurements.
But the miskeres doesn't either.
That's right. That's why we can't learn it.
No, we are learning out. What do you mean? What are we learning it out the kapiras from? Learning it out from the miskeres. Right? Done in davar shenitna by Torah mida, that the Torah gave a measurement, which is what the kapiras, because at least it has a measure, like you said, a length and width. Midavar shenitna by Torah mida, from something that the Torah also gave a measurement for. Right?
They bring down from the Ra'ah that it's at least it gave some measurement when it came to miskarte in the Torah. There's
But
no
it
measurement
didn't.
that's given, meaning we learn it out from something that at least has a
Yeah,
measurement.
no, the miskeres it does. The miskeres it says a measurement, it says a tefach.
Right.
Right, that's what it is. Right, the kapiras gave a measurement, right? Like you said, Gershon, the length and the width. The miskeres it says a measurement also, a tefach. So therefore, we're going to learn out the kapiras from the miskeres where it says a measurement, but we're not going to learn it out. And don't try and prove something from the tzitz and the zer because there the Torah didn't give you any sort of measurement at all. Yeah, fine. So that's the bottom line is we're learning it out from the miskeres, right? Whatever this, the border was a tefach, so therefore the kaparas is a tefach. Rav Huna says no. He has a different way to learn it out. It says al pnei hakaparas keidma. Right, so it says on the east side of the kapiras, that's where the kohen gadol sprinkling the blood. We have a rule that a human face, cannot be smaller than a tefach. Right? Human face can't be smaller than a tefach, so therefore we're going to go with the minimum amount. Second one, ask Ve'ema Ka'ape on Talmud Beis now, the Bar Yuchni, which we just had also. Maybe it's the face of the Bar Yuchni bird, right? Which we said that the egg broke and drowned 60 cities, and broke 300 eras or trees. What do you call it? Eras? Cedar tree. Thank you. Right. Basically, a very, very, very large bird. So maybe that's the face, and therefore the kapiras would be massive. So the Gemara gives the answer I gave before. Tefasta Merubah like tefasta, tefasta Mud, tefasta. Right? Yuma was the same thing. Right? Don't grab on too much. Don't grab on too much. So Gemara says, maybe it's like the face of the bird, a small bird that's much smaller than a face. Maybe that's the smallest face, which is much smaller than a human face. And much smaller than a tefach. He learns out Gzeira Shava Pnei Pnei. Ksivach al Pnei HaKapiras. Here it says on the face of the kapira, right? The face of the kapira. So Ksiv Hasam, Meis Pnei Yitzchak Aviv, from the face of Yitzchak, his father. So therefore, the actual word Pnei Pnei tells you that the kapirus, the size of the kapirus, is the size of the face of a human. Fine. Second one says V'nei Panim Shamayla. So maybe learn it out from the Panim Shamayla, whatever that means, meaning some sort of malachim or whatever it is. The Siv. When he sees the face of people from Hashem, and he was Tartzeni, and he was calm, right? And l'chayra, that's much bigger than a human. What answers to fasta merubah?
How do we know that?
I have no idea.
The face of a malach, we don't know what it is.
I don't know.
Maybe that malach is like a pigeon egg.
I thought we learned Pshat and Chumash and Truma that it's a face of a child. No.
What? That's a kruvim. That we're getting to in a minute.
Oh.
That we're getting to in a minute. Yeah, so I don't know how we know. I wasn't sure. I had to look into Art Scroll on this to see if the face was smaller or bigger. Art Scroll says it's bigger.
Now, how does Art Scroll know?
I have no idea. Right?
Don't they change? Don't the malachim change? I mean, like they come in different forms. Like, is there a specific form? I mean, we're talking ethereal beings to begin with, but the same malach that came to Yoshua is another one that came.
Right. I'm not. I don't know. So anyway, so whatever it is, the Gemara says, tefasta merubah like tefasta with tefasta. Then Gemara asks, "V'nei me kruv." Why do we learn out from the kruvim, which happened to go on top of the Aron? The siv el hakapiras you pnei. Again, the Gemara is looking for the word pnei specifically, because it says pnei hakapiras, so it has to dafka look for something with pnei. Right? The siv el hakapiras you pnei kruvim should be the face of the kruvim. So maybe it means the face of the kruvim. Right, which is going to be less than a tefach, which is the Gemara is going to prove in a minute. We learned the Halacha lemoshe that the kruvim is not less than a tefach. Rav Huna also learned it out from their taka, and Rav Huna's reason that he said a kapiras is a tefach is also because he's learning it out from the kruvim. Right, so Gemara says, "Umay kruv." What is a kruv? It's like a baby. She came in Bavel, currently a nuka rabia. Because in Bavel we call a baby a rabia. So kruv is a rubia and it's a baby. If that's the case, it says one's face is a kruv and one's face is a pnei adam. Hainu kruv, hainu adam. So that sounds like what's a kruv? And a kruv is of Adam, right? So then it can't be a child, meaning it sounds like the kruvim is an adult, not a baby. So one answer is no, api rabari, api zutri. Right? It means a person, but it means you have some small faces and some large faces. Right? So therefore it's not a stira. Fine. Okay, now the Gemara asks, now we're back to Sukkah for a minute at least. How do you know? So we're saying that it has to be 10 tefachim high, the Sukkah, right? And the assumption is that the opening from the ground till the bottom of the schach is 10 tefachim, meaning not the top of the schach, the bottom of the schach, right? Which you sort of had yesterday or the day before. Right, so who says that the chalal is 10 besides for the schach? Maybe it's together with the schach, right? Meaning, when you're sitting in the sukkah, does the schach have to be minimum 10 tefachim above you, or maybe it could be 9 tefachim as long as the top of the schach is 10 tefachim. So Gemara says,
Does this kasha start according to Rava? Rava said before the dira srucha.
Oh, so you're right. So that's Stam. That's Stamakat. Pnei Yeshua asks, I should have said this in the beginning. Pnei Yeshua asks, Akasha, what do you mean? What are you asking that? How do we know that the minimum amount of sukkah is 10 tefachim? We said it's a dira srucha. Right? It's a dira srucha. Nobody would ever live in anything less than 10 tefachim. I need a pasuk from the Torah to tell you that the minimum height of a sukkah is 10 tefachim. It's a dira srucha. Nobody would live in there like that. Hashteitzach, I have no recollection what he answers, but that's his
Yaakov, we should know that from the 2 blot ago we did about the small bias 6x6.
Right, you're right. No, well, that's what he's saying. That's based on that Gemara. That's right. Exactly what he's asking. That's exactly what he's asking.
It's Yaakov. I don't
But
understand.
that would
We
be-
learned it out of the Aron. Didn't we say the Aron didn't take up any space?
Yeah.
So how are we learning things from? How are we learning heights from the Aron?
No, because you have to go with the Torah.
You say
gives
even though
measurement.
there's a
The Torah does give a measurement.
even though it doesn't take up space.
Yeah, doesn't. I mean, the Torah gives the measurement, doesn't it?
Right, but it still doesn't. I'm saying the actual space it's taking up the halal is nothing.
True.
I thought it only didn't take up space when it was in the Kodesh Kodashim. Outside it took up space. The Kohanim carried it. The Levim carried it. Or it carried them, but either way.
That's not a steer to the first link.
The
I
what?
don't know. Is that?
It's not a steer.
You can't, I mean, if something's not physical, you can't carry it, and it
I
can't
don't
carry
know
you.
what it, maybe you know. I don't know what it means. It doesn't take up space. You know what that means? I don't know what that means.
Gemara says what it means.
So I said I don't know what it means. So maybe you know what it means. No,
We had
no.
3 Gemaras
No,
already. that
I
said what
think
it means.
Gershon, I think the pshat is that it was the Aron was nice of. No?
That's true also.
something
That's a
else.
different nace, but that's
That's
nothing to
something
do with the
else.
space.
Oh.
When it was in the Kodesh Kodashim, in the Mishkan, for example, the Kodesh Kodashim was 10 by 10. The length of the Aron was 10 amas with the bottom. But it didn't take up any space, meaning it still fit.
Yeah, so what does that mean?
I don't know what it means.
So what
But
is
it means that in the
Kodesh?
Kodesh,
You
but
don't
that
know
was
the
part of the
difference.
It means there was an
No,
ace. It
That's
means
what
there
I'm
was
that
an
was
saying.
ace.
part of the
You don't
nace.
know that. You don't know the difference.
Rabbi, why is that any
true.
different? Why is that any different than they were oimed and spoofing, the Gemara says, and they were able to all do karim? It's the same thing. It was part of the nace.
it's true, you're right. But that for exactly right. So Oimdim Tzfufim is not a property of people, it's a property of the place. The same with the Kodesh Kodashim. The Kodesh Kodashim, the Aron and the Kodesh Kodashim didn't take up any space. Outside the Kodesh Kodashim, the Torah gives its measurements.
Gershon, was the Luchas
Yeah.
in the Sefer Torah in the Aron in the Mishkan?
Yeah.
So what do you mean it didn't take up space? It
Oh,
was
well,
something-
according to
it was
Rashi, yeah.
something. You're saying it's not something physical. It is something physical. The Luchas didn't disappear when they were inside. So I'm saying you agree with me. We don't know what it means.
100%, but we only don't know what that means in the Kodesh
That's
Kodashim.
all I said. We don't know what it means.
Yeah, but we do know that the Gemara only says such a thing in the Kodesh Kodashim.
I know
There's no
that.
Gemara
Okay,
anywhere.
fine. So
So what are we arguing about? Nothing.
Good, so
good.
that's a good thing. It doesn't hurt to argue. It's good to argue just for argument's sake.
That's our minhag.
I'm loving the
Father.
fact that I started this whole thing.
Yeah, Akiva, you start all the trouble, then you sit back quiet. Okay. Anyways, Okay, let's see. Right. So Ella mi Beis Elamim Gomar. We learned it out from Beis Elamim, which we know already from you, but that's considered the Beis Hamikdash. The Siv, Babayis Shabbanon Hamela Shleima Lashem Shishim Amah. Shishim Amah Arkoi. Right, the Beis Hamikdash that Shlomo built was 60 amas long, be'esrim rach by 20 wide, u'shleishim ama kaimasai, 30 amas high. Uksiv kaimas hakruv ha'echad. I'm sorry, kaimas hakruv. Yeah, I'm sorry. Kaimas hakruv ha'echad is eser ba'ama, 10 amas. The chen hakruv ha'sheni, and the second one was also. It's interesting terminology there, right? Right, which Rashi says the kruvim in the Beis Hamikdash were on the floor, not on the Aron. The kruvim in the Mishkan were on top of the Aron. In the Beis Hamikdash, they were on the floor, so that's why they were 10 amas. So if the height of the Beis Hamikdash was 30 amas and the kruvim were 10 amas, that means that they're a third. Right? Again, the kruvim were 1/3 of the height of the bayis. Mishkanami kruvim b'shlishabayis, and so the Mishkan was also a third. Now, what's the cheshbon in the Mishkan? Mishkan kamahavi. How high was the Mishkan? Eser amas. It's 10 amas. T'ksiv eser amas oirich hakeresh. The length of each keresh, each board, was 10 amas. Kamahavi lahu. How much does that come out? Shisin pushki. Right, if you have 6 tefachim to an Amah, so pushki is another word for a tefach. So you have 60 tefachim, right? So that's 10 tefachim per Amah. I'm sorry, 6 tefachim per Amah. That gives you 60 tefachim. Tlase kamahavi, esrim. What's a third of that? 20. 20 pushki. Esrim pushki, 20 tefachim. Dala sorad the Aron. Remove 10 for the Aron. The kapayres for the Aron and the kapayres. Pashalu asara. That leaves you 10 left over for the kruvim. Fine, so that tells you that the kruvim were 10 tefachim high in the Mishkan. And it says that the kruvim would spread out their wings above, with their wings on the kapayres. So you see that the Torah calls scha something that's above 10, because again, the wings of the kruvim were 10 tefachim above the Aron. So Gemara asks, who says that the wings, katfinu is the wings, were on top of the heads, right? Maybe they were next to them, right? And therefore it would be a little less, right? Meaning they would be included in the 10 tefachim, right? Again, we got to this whole kasha. We're trying to figure out if the bottom of the schach has to be 10 tefachim high, or we don't care as long as the outside looks at it. Right? Where are we, Gershon? We're Amar Ravacha, around 12, 15 lines up at the bottom. Yeah? So who says that the wings of the kruvim were above the head? Maybe the wings of the kruvim were below a little bit, and the 10 tefachim goes from the top of the wings, not from the bottom of the wings. Because it says lamala. It says, okay, if it says lamala, maybe the middle tuba, so maybe it's way higher than 10 tefachim. So miksiv lamala, it doesn't say lamala, it doesn't say lamala. So therefore, it just means it was at the height of the head. Fine. So the Gemara says, okay, so that's how we know basically that the 10 tefachim has to be with this. It needs to be a 10 tefachim space from the floor to the bottom of the schach. Now the Gemara asks, honey, this all fits according to Reb Meir, who says the amas were the average amas, which is 6 tefachim. But according to Rabbi Yehuda, who says that the Amah of the binyan was 6 tefachim, Bishal Kalim Chamisha, and the Kalim was 5, Michael Meimar, what are you going to say? Aron Kaparis Kama Havilu. How much was the Aron the Kaparis? Again, you have to subtract everything by a 6, right? Because now the tefach is 5 tefachim, not 6. So how many? So then how much is it? Timnayu palga. So that means the Aron is 8.5. Pashalu chatzreu palga, and that's going to leave you with 11.5. Ema sukkah adahavi chatzreu palga. So why don't we say that the sukkah is until 11.5 high? Sukkah is not 10 tefachim high. So the Gemara answers. So again, according to Rabbi Yehuda, the cheshbon has to be the sukkah should be 11.5 tefachim high, not 10 tefachim high. So our answer is El Rabbi Yehuda Hilchos Gemiri La. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's Halacha lemoshe misinai. So Amar Rav Barashi, Amar Rav Shiurin, chatzitza, and mechitza, all measurements in the Torah. Anytime there's chatzitza for mikvah and mechitza, which means here mechitza for an eruv or mechitza for a sukkah, is all halacha lemoshe misinai. Okay, so now basically we have two ways of learning it out. We have you can learn out the minimum 10 tefachim from the Aron, or three ways really, from the Aron, or from the kruvim, or from halacha lemoshe misinai. Now the Gemara tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem, is going to ask all about is it really halacha lemoshe misinai? It's really midaraisa. Okay, we'll stop here. Fine. A good to know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And major hot.
Someone tell me,
Aaron Kaplan,
Yeah.
what you said about the schufim and the laying and the being shtakavod. We had Gemaras in Yuma. It seemed like it was hardly anybody in the Migdash.
Was the pshat in the
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know.
I was saying that may be the same case with the Aron.
For talking from the side.
No, there wasn't people there.
That's now the misinai.
Yeah.
Aaron,
Yeah.
Have a good night. Thank you very much.
And
do you remember where we were holding when we finished our fight, Machlokes Lishma? I missed from there till Rebecca. I don't know where we were holding though.
You were by the kruvim. You were discussing like about 10 lines above that, right at the beginning of the kruvim.
You got lost.
Okay.
Looking at the kruvim.
Oh, I was seeing stars, not kruvim.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, Triaco, did we talk about the Jewish baseball player yet?
I was just
We
about
didn't
to
get
ask you, Yaakov.
Is that what you wanted to ask me about,
I
Akiva?
wanted to ask you what we consider a baseball stadium on Shabbos.
Yes, this man of the Daf Yomi switched to 845. Yes.
I wanted to
Depends if
know.
it has a mechitza.
I wanted to know what din it has. Is it a
Right, because
carpet?
he plays baseball.
It's a karfif, no?
But it's a carpet ladira.
I don't know. We can talk about it for a while.
This guy play. I don't know all the hawk. I don't know all the
It
hawk.
says in the article that he
went to
walks
Hacker,
the game.
But he doesn't. He eats kosher. He doesn't travel on Shabbos, so he
But
stays
he
at
walks
the
the
hotel.
baseball games.
Right, he stays at the hotel right near the stadium, and he
So the
walks
shadow
over.
is, what do you consider a stadium?
Right, but he plays.
He eats.
Right.
He eats kosher. He doesn't eat.
Yossi is a 5 count.
Yes.
Right, he's a 5 count kid. He's a half to boy, I think.
If you're listening to these people, what they're telling you is not gay yet. All the things they said are not gay yet. He hasn't traveled
It
yet.
says in the article he
says
already plays
he-
games on
He
Shabbos.
says if he travels, he's going to stay near the stadium and he will pitch on Shabbos. It's
The
not
article
gay
said he
yet.
already does that.
What are you talking about? He already pitches.
He already pitches. The article says he's already played games on Shabbos. He walks the game.
He plays games on Shabbos.
One second. He
Past tense.
plays on Shabbos. He plays on
Yes.
Shabbos.
Literally.
The article says in past tense that he plays in Shabbos. The walk
And
the
he
games
eats
is
kosher.
play on
Yossi,
Shabbos.
what do you say?
Eats
Doesn't-
Eats kosher. Doesn't
He's showing
travel.
the
Won't get in a
Shabbos.
car or a train or a plane on Shabbos.
His Rav probably told him he could start pitching the stadium on Shabbos.
So I wanted to
that's
ask Yaakov, what is
Isn't
the
he
din
from
of
the
a stadium?
5 pounds? This kid?
Yeah.
Isn't he from the 5 pounds?
Yeah.
He's a half the boy. Yeah.
I hear.
This
Yeah, so
only
what-
happened after they opened the Mahadran Hefsher.
Very good.
By the way, how is he allowed to pitch? Right.
Is he allowed to?
Baseball,
Is
then
allowed to
like,
pitch? Except he obviously doesn't hold like Sandy Koufax.
No, Sandy Koufax was only in Kippur, no?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it was only in Kippur.
Only in Kippur, Triaco.
Ah, I hear.
It's like the stones that the boys that throw in the Hafganah. It's the same thing.
So
You know
Yaakov,
what?
why is it any different than riding a scooter, you know?
Except you don't hope you don't get hit by a 90 when you're from Iraq.
Listen. He can't dig into the pitcher's mound because that's Mama's just.
That you said already, Yaakov. Yeah, we said that once.
Yeah, he can't dig into. Right, that he can't do. Other than that, it's okay. What's
Jacko,
It's just under the fall.
Jacko has no problem with Erev in this stadium is all gated.
correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, that's not the problem. No,
That's
not the
good to go.
Well, he can't hit one out of the park.
He might actually want to make an eruv chatzeris over there with all the hot dogs. Everybody should give in a piece so they can make an eruv. I don't know.
No, the only
Wait,
problem.
the Diamondbacks American or National League?
Diamondbacks national.
No,
So he has to bat too. That's a problem.
no, he's playing,
No, but then
it's
they
up to the
get
home.
DH.
No, that's the issue.
he's playing college baseball for the next 2-3 years. He's got a while till he gets to the major leagues.
Listen, if he gets up there and he goes up there without a bat, he's not going to do any worse than most other pitchers. So it's all right. There's a way around that. Listen, you know what? A guy came to Shayasha once. He said, "Hafter, what yeshiva is Hafter? I see all these guys that finish Shas from Hafter. Can we got to start sending people there, right?"
Very good.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Benjamin, for the summer we moved it to 8:45.
All right. I guess it's
So
been a
sorry
while.
about that. Sorry about that.
No.
They announced Myriv.
Waiter, man.
They announced Myriv yet?
Waiter, man.
Waiter Myriv. Should go to that.
Rabbi's telling me
also. All right. Good to know. Aaron, he didn't come back yet. When he comes back, I'll give him the phone to call you.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you,
All
Tony.
right. Tigers on fellows.
Where it's Tzviakov, they announced Myriv?
They announced Myriv.
Gershon, you're not going to make it from Cleveland.
What do you got to
Gershon.
say?
You're not
Quick,
gonna
what do you got to
make it.
say?
No. I just. No, I wanted to. The way I understood the
Somebody
last
please
few
go
times I
announce
learned.
I'm trying to get somebody to go announce Myriv. Yeah, go ahead.
The last few times I learned this first parak of Sukkah, the way I understood all these kashas about the height and the psul, the hechsher, was because of Rashi on Daf Beis. Rashi on Daf Beis says the Sukkah is al pi schach.
Right.
And schach means tzel. So if the whole Sukkah is al pi the schach, then lemoshe, this last kasha that we have, why is the halal of the Sukkah need to be 10 tefachim? Maybe it includes the schach, because the Sukkah needs to be 10 tefachim. That's the kasha. So Mamela, I'm gonna change and say, even though it would be a dira strucha, if the Torah tells you that's what a Sukkah is, then dira strucha doesn't count.
But that's the Pnei Yeshua, isn't that why is that different than the Pnei Yeshua's kasha?
That's the answer, I think. I can't remember what he says, but
Again?
I have it signed. I have it signed. That dira strucha would only count if the Torah doesn't say that the size is 10 tefach. If the Torah says that the size of a sukkah is 10 tefachim, and sukkah nikra al shem schach, then memela, the schach is part of that 10 tefachim. Then there's no such thing as a dira strucha by hilchah sukkah. The Torah is saying it doesn't work. There's no such thing.
Okay, I hear that. Do you guys masking? These guys are learning sukkah back. We got a couple YFI guys learning sukkah, so you're under the gun now.
Garrison, it's like the chicken or the egg.
That's basically what the Gemara is doing. Which came first?
Right. And
that's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Shabbos is learned out of sukkah. So everything that you want to bring in from Shabbos is all better than sukkah.
That's a little bit different. You're talking about mechitzas.
Yeah.
Mechitzas are from the sukkah walls.
Correct.
Not from
so
the sukkah itself.
Everything stops.
No, so we're saying. Oh, so that's the shiloh. That's really essentially the shiloh of the Gemara. All these shilohs of the Gemara are the size issues that we have here. Halachas in the walls or halachas of the sukkah. That's how you have the halal all the time. Halal of Esrim Amah. That means the schach is
right,
above
but it's halal, but with schach on top. So it's a little. It seems like it's also incorporating the schach part, the shade.
Right, that's the shiloh. What's included in what? That's all these shilohs of the Gemara trying to figure out. Do the walls of sukkah have their own dinim? Once you say that the walls have their own dinim, then you can learn it to mechitzas. That's anywhere.
Right.
Okay, I don't know. I mean, you can get into the whole machlokes whether the cell comes from the walls too. That's coming up in a lot of times.
Well, what Tasav Lehman also is telling the entire schach. That's telling the walls. The ikar part.
Because you didn't make schach. The schach appeared that you need to make a sukkah, and sukkah is the schach. So mamela Tasav Lehman also, you dig it out.
Right, but you're saying the shiloh is also.
But besides for that, there's shilohs if there are dinim in the walls.
Right. I
Or
hear
all the dinim of sukkah are just dinim of the whole binyan of sukkah, which is mainly the schach.
Well, the Indian of kruv, towards
I'm
the end, it
cutting
seems
out,
like
right,
the
I'm
way they're
cutting out.
discussing kruvim is not so pasha because it's the sale of the kruvim above 10 tefachim that we're saying is an Indian of sukkah of the mechitzas.
Yeah, but it's between the kruvim and the Aron, no? Between the
So the
top of the
slach has to be
kapiris.
above 10. That's what it seems like it's coming out at the end.
Yeah. That's the maskana, 100%. Once you have that maskana, then Rav is back in business. Dira Srucha is a Dira Srucha, even by sukkah. There's no difference.
Right.
100%. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Tzlacha. Good night.